We'll know a little bit more about this mind, and then we will continue our journey. So, with happy Thanksgiving, let us know a little more about mind. Even though I may explain it in a very simple words, but if you remember and if you live into that state of awareness, perhaps this may be the last session. You know that I have gone there. I am there. 2 or 3 examples. The first example, camera. Camera is here with me. I take your picture. Camera doesn't move, but it takes your picture, whether you are near, whether you are far. Right? Now take the example of a smartphone. It talks, but it doesn't go anywhere. It takes the picture, but it doesn't go anywhere. It is one of the higher principles one great master explains in a specific text. And you see that smartphone takes pictures, videos, audios, you can record it. So at present, say for example, it has taken the picture and then it saves the picture behind. Mind does not go anywhere. Mind is like a camera. Mind is like a smartphone. Hey, how are you, Daniel? So it retrieves the memory from the past. It doesn't go anywhere. Remember, can I maintain that awareness that this mind does not go anywhere? Think of it. Think of it. It remains where it is, like smartphone. Now, if I have to talk to you, the smartphone does not run to your country and then says, now I recognize Daniel, let me talk. Do you see that? The mind is like this smartphone. Audio, video, chatting. It is. You see that? Now see that. What happened? The mind entered into the hand and it says here, I am there, but I can raise your hand. I can see far off objects. I can smell. I can have a fragrance. Can I live into that state of awareness? Are you getting it? Mind does not go anywhere. At a lower level of the practices, we say the mind has gone somewhere, bring it back, it is attached, lot of things. You see that? First thing. Now, mind is like a mirror. Do I see you? Yes. How do I see you? The mind sees through the eyes. So if you are 100 pound, seeing you does not increase the weight of the mind. It does not change. It does not show. It shows. I recognize the height, but it does not give the same height to the mind. Let us go a little deeper. Let us go deeper. You look into the mirror. You see your image. Right? So does that image has a weight in the mirror? There is no weight in the mirror. That is the nature of the mind. Because mind is so much obsessed and attached, full of craving, anxiety, reaction. That is why it is not aware of the reality. Are you getting it? The moment we go in front of the mirror, I am looking smart. Does the mirror look smart? Does the mirror gains weight because you are in front of the mirror? Does the mirror change the color? You are in front of the mirror. Does the mirror show you women? Daniel, if you are a man, that is the nature of the mind. It is that nature when we realize that reflects our real self 24/7. Then what happens? Then you are, even if you are angry, peace and happiness both are behind. It is not the pride that is making you angry and agitated. You want to get the things done. You work behind peace and happiness. You speak behind peace and happiness. You think behind peace and happiness. What is first? First is peace and happiness. Then you think, then you speak, then you act. Why? What happens to the mirror when you are in front of the mirror and when you leave the mirror? Mirror remains as it is. No change. In that mirror, the real self reflects. That takes you into a deeper state of meditation. Think of it. But knowledge must be supported by practice, and practice must be supported by knowledge. That will take you to discovery of the real self and awakening. Knowledge alone cannot help. Real self cannot. One of the masters, he lived until I would say 82, 83. And I had a fortune to meet this guy. He used to tell a story. Perhaps it may be a real story, but it gives the right message. An African guy went to Britain and he found the mirror, because in those days, hundreds of years ago, in those days, the mirror was invented there and it had yet to go to African countries. He bought a mirror. He went back to Africa. Similarly, in those days, the wife opens the bag and looks everything, and what this guy has brought for me. So now she looks into the mirror. Beautiful women. Now I see my honey is attracted to this beautiful women. He left the husband's house and went to his father's house. But he took the mirror with her. Couple of weeks passed by and his father got upset why his daughter is not returning to her husband. So he started searching everything. Is there anything suspicious in his room? And he found the mirror. And he saw into the mirror. that is what happens every day in our life. It may be a story, but this is what happens in our daily life. So he saw into the mirror and he said, now I understand. My beautiful daughter loves crazy old man, because he is looking himself into the mirror. And one step further, and then daughter, mother also saw into the mirror and said, now, at this age, my husband is in love with the old women. What a crazy guy he is. Now apply this in your daily life. You see this beard guy, maybe you may feel happy, but if the pride is there behind, you hold back. See that? You look your friend. It is not neither friend or foe, nor husband and a wife. It is all happening in the mirror. So at last this African guy went to daughter's in-laws house and he said, come on, you guys are all crazy. And then he removed that doubt, delusion. You can say doubt, you can say delusion, you can say thought process, you can say pain, you can say grief. Whatever you want to name it. It hardly matters. That is the journey of meditation. Think of it. So mind is like a mirror. We lost that transparency of a mirror. You see that in every government we say, where is the transparency? Newly elected president says, now we will work with the transparency. Means what? This mind is not attached, obsessed, anxious of anything in front of itself. Am I right? If I compare it with reference to the mirror. When this mind is attached, obsessed with the objects outside, this mind becomes impure. Purity is required. The moment the mind becomes like a mirror, grace, peace, happiness, love, wisdom starts pouring into our life. Because if I am attached to anything outside, that object or a person has to leave me. And they always leave me at least for 6 to 7 hours during the deep sleep. That we do not understand. That those crazy relations of this African guy did not understand. Now, I'm comparing both. Are you getting it? It's very simple, but still it is challenging to the mind that is obsessed, that is attached. It is because of the attachment mind creates millions and trillions of thought patterns. That we will take up last week, how many types of thought pattern we have to empty the mind. Now, do you want to empty the mirror? Mirror is always You stand before the mirror. Yes, mirror says, okay, here is your image. You leave the mirror, gone. The mind should be like this. In that mind, real self reflects 24/7. I'm answering your question or a query that you asked me. How it is irreversible process. That is the journey. And the journey of meditation is not that when you succeed, it is an irreversible process in your life. That is not the end of the journey. The journey of meditation is that it is expressing and revealing that peace and happiness, love and wisdom here and now. That is the journey of meditation. When we use the word journey, we say here is a destination, departure point, and here is an arrival point, and after that, the end of life. No. Journey of meditation is to reveal. That is why I use the word revealing that peace and happiness. Go back and understand the mirror does not create any impression in the mind, but we create our lot of impression in the mind. Maybe because of the pride, maybe because of the attachment, maybe because of the detachment. And we do not realize that anything we are attracted in this world or obsessed with it will have to leave because they are constantly changing. It is in influx. They have to change. There is no way out. But the mind forgets to act like a mirror. And why it forgets? Because I have a hollowness inside, the emptiness inside. I don't see that peace and happiness in me. So that is how these masters have discovered these principles, how to move step by step, to purify the mind, to make the mind like a mirror, allow the mind to reflect the real self. And once that real self is $1 billion as compared to a penny, which is a pleasure that we receive with the objects and people outside. Last point. Why I say pleasure? And why I compare pleasure with a penny? Today is a Thanksgiving Day. So, observe whatever acts you are doing, and in the evening, collect all the units of pleasure. 1 unit of pleasure by eating food, 2nd unit of pleasure by meeting with your relations and friends, 3rd unit of pleasure by receiving a gift, 4th unit of pleasure, and collect all the units. If you have collected 50 units of pleasure today in the Thanksgiving Day, can that 50 unit of pleasure give you 1 unit of happiness? Ask yourself. Pleasure is already gone. It only happens when you are in contact with that object or a person. Hey, how are you? So we hug each other, and after we leave, the mind is already going somewhere else. Oh, you have a beautiful dress. Now the pleasure is gone of hugging and meeting. Are you getting it? Mirror, unit of pleasure, happiness, and that is gone from our life. So what I see, the real thanksgiving is to discover that peace and happiness which enters into our mind by grace. That is why we are grateful. Now, grateful, Latin word, coming from the grace, graciousness. If the mind wants to force the real self to allow the peace and happiness to take place in my life, it will never happen. That is why we say, the real self says, mind, be pure, become like a mirror, and I am here all the time. I can reflect myself. Don't force me. Forcing means I want to own, I want to possess, I want to get pleasure. That will never happen. That never happens. That is why we say the love, peace, and happiness are earned. It cannot be forced. So when it is not forced, then it becomes a journey of meditation. When the mind lives like a mirror. See, we see that another young and handsome guy, Sam, if he stands before the mirror does not say that you are most handsome. I will remain attached to you. Even if someone comes, I will not show him or her into the mirror. Can that happen? Is my mind like it? Now become aware. Is my mind like it? I'll give you a lesson and finished. Again I will come back. Don't be so serious, Sergey. It is in you. It is always with you. It is always with you. We forget it. That is why this teacher, which we are following in our journey on Mondays and Thursdays, what he says, two principles, and then we'll start the practice. I'll repeating the earlier principle. What he says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, empty the mind of its content. Why empty? There is a lot of dust in the mirror. Empty it. And then what is the result? Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. The moment you remove the dust, that real self is already there behind the mind. That appears in the mind and it becomes a irreversible process. That process is known as awakening. That state is known as awakening. A lot of thoughts are coming to my mind, but I'm holding back last mind. Difference between waking up and awakening? In both the words, one thing is common, waking up. You wake up in the morning, you wake up to the same old world of attachment, of detachment, of possession, of power, of pleasure, of anxiety, of duality and a conflict. This is all a dust over the mind. And what is awakening? You awaken totally to a different world, not the old one. You awaken to inner peace, happiness, love, wisdom. That is what is the journey of meditation according to the teachings of our great masters. Let us start our journey of meditation. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Let us start in the same way. I am. The way you stand before the mirror and the mind says I am. Why don't you say I am? I'm not Sam or Daniel or Jerry or Sangeeta. I'm simply I am. No name, no label. And then I know I am. I know. This knowing, this sensation, this awareness is nothing but consciousness. It is pure consciousness. I know I am. When it becomes impure, I know I am man, I am Christian, I am Muslim, I am Hindu, I am meditator. You see that? Dust has come. And then, when I know I am, who is this I am? This I am is behind the mind, is the real self, is always full of permanent happiness. Another doubt we should remove from the mind, that I am creating that peace and happiness by the practice of meditation. No, I am discovering that inner peace and happiness which is already there. The way I lost the keys of my car in the home, I don't say, let me create another key. I say, oh, it has been there in my house, so let me find it. I forgot it. Same way, discovery. It is very simple. What is very simple in our journey is always higher, greater, loftier. So look inside the heart, in that awareness of the body. You see the body is steady, and in that steadiness of the body, you are looking inside the heart. Where? In the space. Why in the space? The space is also a mirror. You see, every word I choose coming from these teachings of our masters. I don't interfere in any way in these teachings. Why? Because that is the only way. The moment you interfere, you are confused. You are looking into the space and become aware of the space. In that state, become aware of the space. And what a beautiful mantra in the verse that we are doing in today's meditation, which is also happens to be a Thanksgiving Day. You see that. So singing and listening is the first. Who listens? The mind. And if the mind is like a mirror, it will start feeling the vibes, even if you do not understand. So first stage is singing and listening. We don't pay any attention to the meaning. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Singing, listening, now meaning, the stage 2. You are also singing in your mind, singing in the mind, listening to what you are singing, and meaning of swastir is the state of well-being. The state of the well-being is already present behind the mind. But mind is seeking that state of the well-being with objects, with people, with events. Why not Thanksgiving every day? Why only today? Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Experience, look at the state of well-being. Simply looking, that means that you know the meaning. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. 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 Now, singing, listening, meaning, and the applied knowledge. Mind says no, you have to do lot of things to enter into the state of well-being, meditation, and our master says it is already behind the mind. So we keep our awareness deeper inside. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. 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 The mind will always say it is a bit difficult. And one woman in our country, she was in her restroom and her mind started singing. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. And then she wrote to me, oh, that is what you meant. Let me wait, let it mature, so that the mind starts reflecting on this. Second line, singing and listening. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. Singing, listening, and meaning. What is the meaning? Peace. Do I get peace with someone, including me? No. Peace is independent. It is inside me. With that meaning, Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. 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 Peace. And what is the applied knowledge? This shanti means the good space. So how to help the mind to reach to that? Allow the mind to be aware and living into that infinite space inside you. That is all. We don't say you have to focus and make an effort. Let us see. Sarvesham shantir bhavatu. 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 Third line. Whole holiday. So a couple of my friends say, no, we are not doing any session on Thanksgiving. It's a holiday. But the session makes you whole. Forget about it. Don't pay me. But do it. No, it's a holiday. I don't force anyone. That is the essence of the third line. But singing and the listening first. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Singing, listening, and now meaning. Meaning is completeness, wholeness. Do you see anything in parts into the mirror? If the mirror is clean and transparent, you see yourself as a whole. And if the mirror is distorted, concave, converse, that is the impurity of the mind. See that. So meaning of this, completeness. Let me feel that. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. 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 And now 6 times with applied knowledge. What is the wholeness, completeness? Everything in the world is complete in itself. But why I feel the sense of incompleteness? Because of the mind. Why because of the mind? Because mind is attached or detached, likes or dislikes, causes the delusion. So I start running in this world. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. 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 Last line. Singing and listening. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. You know, these Sanskrit words and the syllables were created only for the sake of meditation and awakening. And then it became the language of communication. So every word has a different vibes. Even if you do not understand, that is why we are undergoing this practice for a couple of weeks more before we go deeper. Now, 6 times the meaning. Meaning of Mangalam is auspiciousness. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. I'm aware we did it 2 times only. It's okay. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. 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 Mangalam, auspiciousness. Every moment in our life is auspiciousness because the mind is in a demanding mode. It forgets that. It loses that awareness. That is the only thing we have to understand. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. 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 Now, another understanding, the mind imagines when the mind sticks to something, but still it is a mirror. So why not use the same tool to change the mind? What do you mean? Imagine you just woke up from the sleep and imagine Sarve Sham Swastir Bhavatu. There is a well-being, there is a peace, there is a completeness, and there is a wholeness. Imagine you are going to sleep. Feel that. You watch yourself. You are walking into your bedroom, switched off the light, lie down on the bed, placing blanket over the body, eyes are closed, and well-being, peace. Mind imagines that I am stressed. Stress is all imagination. It doesn't stay in the mind. Mind is mirror. Let me imagine. Well-being, peace, completeness, and auspiciousness. So you find the auspicious moment before you sleep, when you wake up. Imagine you are in a kitchen. And take your mind to the well-being. With understanding, with awareness, well-being, peace, completeness, and auspicious. Now, what our master says that when you do it regularly, that well-being merges into peace. Well-being and the peace merges into completeness. And because of well-being, peace, completeness merges all together, it gives rise to auspicious moment, auspiciousness. And that auspiciousness is present behind the time, behind the space, behind the person, behind the object, behind the event. Looking at the breath, look at the breath. Make your breath a little slow, deep in the silence. Not very deep, not very short. Find out the length of the breath so that the mind is not agitated. Very gentle, slow. And as you inhale, move the mind inside the right arm from the shoulder to the fingertips, looking into the space, and when you exhale, move the mind from the fingertips to the shoulder, looking into the space. So what is the journey? The breath is the car, mind is the driver, and the space inside is the highway. It is that highway. It is that highway that goes to the real self. What is that highway? Mirror. Now inside the left arm, same way, the breath and the mind moves inside the left arm from the shoulder to the fingertips, moving into the highway, and from the fingertips to the shoulder in the highway. Do you remember I explained you the difference? Waking up, awakening. One thing is common, that you are conscious, you are aware and doing the practice. Now inside the right leg, same way, you still what happens when the mind, which is obsessed and attached with the body for all practical purposes, it says, I am the body. When the mind leaves that obsession, you are there. Inside the left leg, and now inside the spine, from the crown of the head to the tailbone. As you inhale, the mind moves inside the spine, from the crown of the head to the tailbone. And when you exhale, from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Continue the journey. If the mind is going anywhere, if you remember any mantra, any line, that will be good. If you don't, just ask the mind, are you aware of the well-being, peace, completeness, auspiciousness? Simply just make a query and wait. Continue the journey. You will find the mind returns. Now leave this, move the mind, walk the mind softly from the crown of the head inside, saying simply Om. Om represents real self, symbol. Om is the name of the real self. And bring it down inside the heart. From the heart, again lift the mind to the crown of the head, saying Om. You may say Om, you may say Om Shanti, whatever you like. But your mind should say and what it means. So meaning is the knowledge. You are aware of that. When you find a free flow of the mind with Om, reflecting on the meaning, the mind goes behind itself. See, these masters have created such a crazy stuff with the clarity of the principles that it takes us very deep inside. Do nothing, remain as you are. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand. Bring your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms. Place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences and followed by any question that you have. So, how are you, Sam?
I'm good. I describe this one as having more timelessness than usual, so just it seemed like it happened very quickly.
That's beautiful.
I was, so thoughtless and all of that stuff. I was, not worried about anything outside, and by the time, I realized that we were in the meditation, you were already taking us out. So.
And today we did 7 or 8 minutes longer than the usual. That's a beautiful way to put it, and that's a deeper experience. And if you see that knowledge must translate into realization by practice. But the very practice must have a clarity of the knowledge. So the knowledge and the practice goes together. Now what happens at the intellectual level? We know that time is one continuity. And still the mind divides the time. So now see that, check, the mind has entered into the state of timelessness. Then it says, oh, it was almost 35, 37 minutes of the practice. Oh, it happened. Just in no time. Can I live into that state? I'm answering Daniel. How are you, Daniel?
I'm good, thank you. So for me today it was a very quiet, but also kind of deeper. And I also lost of feeling or understanding what is going on.
Good.
But it was like very, very short, and I was surprised that we are almost at the end.
Then that's really good. That's a similar experience of timelessness.
Yep.
Can we live into that state 24/7? Answer is yes. If I can live even for a moment, and if you have lived for 37 minutes in that state, we can live 24/7. And if we live 24/7, the mind leaves all the garbage behind. How are you, Jerry?
So it was a similar, I like the way that Sam said it as timeless. I wasn't really thinking about it until he said it like that. But for me too, it was more about the space.
That too is good.
So the stages weren't really, I wasn't at all, I was only focused on the space throughout the meditation. So it was really interesting.
Very good. Yeah, continue.
Yeah. No, go ahead. It was just really about the space. I didn't, the transitions through the meditation weren't really relevant.
Relevant.
For me.
You see, Jerry and all of my friends, for mine, the space is objective. For mine, the time is subjective. So after understanding that, some people like Jerry goes into the infinite space, all-pervading space, and including also Sangeeta. But others, the mind picks up the subjective time. You pick up anything. Doesn't matter. Question is, are you going deeper? So you find the spacelessness. Totally space, infinite space. So where is the time? It is also timelessness. When there is a timelessness, it is all one space. So they are mutually inclusive. That is what we have to understand. So how are you, Sangeeta?
सर पहले तो जब मंत्र उच्चारण है उस टाइम तो वो बॉडी में वाइब्रेशंस बड़ी अच्छी वाली फीलिंग हो रही थी. फिर बाद में ऐसे लग रहा है जैसे एक शील्ड है जो प्रोटेक्ट कर रही है.
That's another beautiful. Sangeeta, I know she is quite emotional. And when you are emotional, so what she says in her experience, in the beginning she felt the vibrations because of mantra practices. Later on, she felt that someone is protecting you like a big shield. So that is a journey of meditation through emotion, through feeling. That's a typical. So even when you are doing one meditation, you may reveal that emotional nature as if you are being 100% protected. When you are protected, when you live in the auspicious moment, that is what we did. You see that? See, it works in a different way. So when you are in that moment of auspiciousness, protection is natural. You never think of the fear and the anxiety and the reaction. Yes, Sergey, how are you?
Very quiet. I felt like a pressure in the sides of my head and no thoughts, almost at all. Maybe like 2 or 3 for all that period of time. And it's quite blind.
Quite blind. Now ask yourself, can we live into that state of quietness inside all the time? 1. Can we continue to feel the same protective shield as in case of Sangeeta, in the same state of timelessness as in the case of Sam and Daniel, and in case of Jerry? Can I live and maintain my awareness that I'm just floating into that infinite space? It is going to change the mind. Only difference between the teacher and the seeker, the teacher perceives that we all are essentially one. That is how the teacher perceives. So the teacher never answers your question. Teacher always answers you. Because you are the most important. But from the seeker's point of view, what is there? The seeker perceives the teacher is different from me. Teacher knows much more than me. That is your ignorance. I can bet you drop that ignorance, here and now, you are there. The way that African beautiful girl, when the African guy returned and he told you all are crazy, you see, this is the fact. That is the only difference. That is why we say that the seeker and teacher's relationship is spatial. The more your mind in ignorance says that I am different than you, the more the teacher comes with the principles, explains you, and says, no, you are already there. And that is how the journey continues. Any question? That is all for today. Thank you. We'll meet on Monday. Oh, David was not there?
No.
Oh, David was not. Happy Thanksgiving to him. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.